Thank you, Mr. Chair. As I think all of you know, we became aware of a bill that was on the House floor in the General Assembly on Wednesday that would allow Franklin County to acquire land and interest in land in Vance, Warren, and Halifax counties for sites for raw water intakes. Well, it would allow it to acquire land for any purpose in those counties. And we immediately began efforts to oppose that. We believe it's being done in connection with Franklin County's desire to get a raw water allocation from the Army Corps of Engineers from Carr Lake, and would essentially allow Franklin County to condemn land if it needed to through those three counties and get to the lake without their permission. And as you all, I think, know, General Statute 153A-15 prohibits 88 counties in the state are protected from another county being able to condemn land in their jurisdiction. And so this would waive that protection for those three counties and allow Franklin County to go directly to the lake to acquire water. As I think you all know, and we've discussed repeatedly, their concerns about this just based on general equity issues, that it would allow another county to take land within the jurisdictional boundaries of a neighboring county. For the way the legislation is written, it would be for any purpose. In this case, we assume it's for water easements and water intake sites and maybe even a water plant, but it could allow it for anything, including a hazardous waste dump, a trash dump, any purpose. So there's no limit on this authority in this legislation. On top of that, we understand the implications for the regional water system and for Carr Lake. If Franklin County can do this, there's nothing to stop any other county from seeking the same permission. It's also nothing to stop any other county from connecting to Franklin County's pipeline. We believe, and I think it's this board's position, that this lake is a resource that should be protected for this region. It serves as a source of tourism development for this area, economic development, recreation, and crucially, it's the water supply for our four-county region. And I think it's a position of this board, and has been historically, that that lake and that should be preserved, at least in North Carolina, for the benefit of this region, and not and have any allocations taken on a regional basis, rather than allowing one county to carve off a portion of it and potentially opening it up for takings from other jurisdictions as well. So based on that, and after consultations with you all, this matter is moving quickly. We've engaged our legislative relations team to have conversations on this. We've done what we can to educate people about the concerns with this part of the bill. The matter was pulled off the voting calendar on Wednesday, but is scheduled to be back for a vote on Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. So just like other jurisdictions in this area, I believe Henderson, Vance County, Warren County, Halifax County have all met or are meeting today. I believe the city of Oxford's meeting Monday. Like all jurisdictions in this region, we think it would be important if this board would publicly show its resolve on this matter and adopt a resolution. And I have one prepared here that I could present to you all if you would like for me to. Sure. So it's entitled, "A Resolution of the Granville County Board of Commissioners Opposing Part 5, Section 5 of Senate Bill 214, authorizing extraterritorial acquisition and condemnation of property without local consent. Whereas on April 24th, 2026, the Granville County Board of Commissioners convened an emergency meeting to consider the legislative and intergovernmental implications of Part 5, Section 5 of Senate Bill 214, including its potential effects on neighboring counties and regional water sources. And whereas Carr Lake is a vital regional resource providing drinking water supply, recreation, tourism, environmental benefits, and economic activity for multiple counties and municipalities within the region. Whereas Carr Lake is appropriately understood as a shared regional asset that should be protected through cooperative planning and should serve as a resource for the benefit of the entire region, rather than being leveraged through unilateral or adversarial action by any single jurisdiction. And whereas, when responsibly planned and managed, Carl Lake can be both protected as a public natural resource and utilized as an economic development driver for the region through tourism, recreation, and sustainable regional water supply planning. And whereas Senate Bill 214 would allow Franklin County to acquire land and interest in land in Vance, Warren, and Halifax counties for sites for raw water intakes, pipeline easements, and related infrastructure, including by condemnation and furtherance of water supply projects benefiting Franklin County and potentially other jurisdictions who may connect to Franklin County's water assets. And whereas the acquisition or condemnation of such property located entirely within another county without the consent or approval of the affected county's Board of Commissioners raises significant concerns regarding local self-governance, land use authority, accountability to residents, and intergovernmental cooperation. And whereas Granville County acknowledges Franklin County's longstanding dependence on water from Carl Lake, including its existing contractual arrangements with the City of Henderson, and recognizes Franklin County's legitimate need to plan for reliable long-term water supply. And whereas those water supply needs are best addressed through cooperative regional planning, shared governance structures, and participation in regional systems, rather than through unilateral actions that could adversely affect neighboring jurisdictions and the financial integrity of the Carl Lake regional water system. And whereas longstanding state and federal water policy encourages regionalization, collaboration, and the avoidance of duplicative or fragmented infrastructure, particularly where regional systems already exist or are being expanded. And whereas the use of land and property associated with Carl Lake for water supply infrastructure should not occur in an adversarial manner, nor through legislative mechanisms that undermine trust, cooperation, and regional partnerships among neighboring local governments. And whereas Part 5, Section 5 of Senate Bill 214, if enacted, would authorize Franklin County to acquire, including by condemnation, real property or interest in real property located in Halifax County, Vance County, or Warren County, without the consent or approval of the affected county's governing board, setting a precedent that risks intergovernmental conflict and erosion of local authority. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Granville County Board of Commissioners that 1, the board formally opposes Part 5, Section 5 of Senate Bill 214 and any similar legislative provision that authorizes a county to acquire or condemn real property or property interests located within another county without the express consent of the affected county's Board of Commissioners. 2, the board affirms that Carl Lake is a shared regional resource whose protection and use should be guided by cooperation, regional coordination, and mutual respect among all jurisdictions that depend upon it. 3, the board supports collaborative and regional approaches to water supply planning and infrastructure development that address legitimate needs while preserving intergovernmental cooperation and avoiding unnecessary conflict or duplication. 4, the board opposes the use of adversarial, legislative, or condemnation authority by a jurisdiction that does not border Carl Lake, Gaston Lake, or the Roanoke River Basin to unilaterally secure land for water supply infrastructure to access Carl Lake, Gaston Lake, or the Roanoke River Basin, while affirming that nothing in this resolution is intended to preclude acquisition or condemnation undertaken jointly by regional participants acting cooperatively through negotiated, regionally supported arrangements in accordance with existing law. 5, the board further directs the county manager and county attorney to work with regional partners to develop plans to oppose implementation of Section 5 of Senate Bill 214 and Franklin County's acquisition of a raw water allocation without collaboration with regional partners by any means necessary. And 6, the board directs that copies of this resolution be transmitted to the North Carolina General Assembly, members of the local legislative delegation, and the governing boards of Franklin, Halifax, Vance, and Warren counties, with a request that Part 5, Section 5 of Senate Bill 214 be withdrawn, amended, or rejected. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Yeah, I do. Anyone have any questions for Countyman? All right. This has already passed the Senate, and the idea is to block it in the House. Is that correct?
It's passed the Senate. I don't believe it's passed final reading in the Senate, so I think there's still an opportunity to oppose it at both levels.
Okay. And, what I'm looking at is, I'm thinking this is a total erosion of property rights for citizens. Now, the county has the right to condemn property. The municipalities have the right to condemn property and take it. And if the people who own that property don't like it, they can go to court. But they can also vote out the people that voted for the condemnation. They have a mechanism where they can go back in the next election. They can oppose and try to vote out whoever voted for condemning the property. This doesn't give anybody that opportunity. Vance, Warren, Halifax counties, if Franklin County takes their property, they have no recourse against the county commissioners or any of the municipalities that property may lie within. It's just, it's like a land grab from another county. It's just the same thing if Durham County or Wake County decided they wanted to go to Carr Lake and pull water out, and they wanted to come through Granville County. And they were going to do it come hell or high water, and they wasn't going to, didn't matter what the people thought, didn't matter what the county commissioners thought. No governing board would have any jurisdiction over them if they did the same thing this bill lets Franklin County do. And I get down off my soapbox now. Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, just looking at that 6 whereas, I think it really strikes me I think it really alludes to what Commissioner Gooch just said. This whole thing about self-governance, and it just takes away all of that from these governing officials in these counties that could be affected, and just very concerning, and where this could go and the impact it could have. So I really appreciate the way this is worded. Thank you.
Number 5, the board further directs the county manager, the county attorney to work with regional partners, develop plans to oppose the implementation of Section 5 of Senate Bill 214 and Franklin County's acquisition of well water allocation without collaboration with regional partners by any means necessary. Well, this board wants those actions to be taken. The bottom line is that if not here in this county now, it will soon come. And we want the right as the elected officials to be able to listen to our constituents and be able to make the determining decisions based on their input. We don't always get it right, but we do our very best. This takes that option off the table. This is willfully going into another jurisdiction, taking what's not yours, making it yours, and then not thinking of how it regionally impacts the overall region. And so our county is a growing county. Our county too will have needs 10, 15, 20 years from now that Carr Lake will provide. This county doesn't receive a single drop of water from Falls Lake for consumption, not one. We cannot lose this resource. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I could just quickly add to that, but since we're talking about paragraph 5 there, I just wanted to be clear that I have, in discussions about this matter with certain legislators, I've made clear to them that this is a matter of considerable importance to this board, and we've had discussions about it since the plans came for Franklin County to get the raw water allocation. And I've also spoken with individual members of this board. Obviously, this is the first meeting we've had since Wednesday, but I've spoken with individual members of this board about the need, and I'll refer to the words of paragraph 5, to stop this by any means necessary. And I have conveyed that it's my belief that this board would also support litigation to stop this measure if necessary. And I just want to make certain, it's been mentioned to me that I may be more passionate about this issue than members of this board, and I replied that I don't think that's the case. I believe all members of this board are in lockstep on the importance of this issue and the need to fight it, whether it takes 1 year, 5 years, 15 years. It's our intent to stop this kind of grab of resources from this region. I just want to make sure that all members of the board agree with that and will acknowledge that on the record.
Agree.
Agree.
Yeah, I agree. That we need to do everything we can to stop this. It need to be regional, and what they're asking for, and what they're trying to do. It just turned the region up, and if they do what they want to do, Granville County,
What stops the next county?
huh?
What stops the next legislative action? I mean, you're setting a precedent, and that's a strong precedent. You may be, Franklin County may believe that this is the best thing for their county. I get it. Well, I believe it's the best thing for our county to prevent these type of things from moving forward, because we serve a representative government. And we represent the citizens of Granville County. We don't represent any other citizens. And so just like Halifax, Warren, and Vance, they serve their constituents. But yet, if this legislation passes, their constituents have no say. That's not representative government.
If I may kind of add to that, it's not only important for us to oppose it, it's important for any county who borders a larger county, a better connected with the legislature county, a more powerful county. They should all be looking at this and be worried and joining in to fight against it, because it's every county that surrounds any larger, more powerful county. And it could happen anywhere to anybody if this happens, because this opens the door. Just like Commissioner May said, it sets a precedence, and once you start down that slope, there's no turning back.
I'd just like to make one comment for the county manager. It's very clear that every commissioner on here is supportive of what the county manager and the county attorney are doing, and we want that effort to be vigorous. And we know that, and when we have to also make it very clear to our residents that it's going to cost, but it's a cost we're going to have to be willing to pay. And so there should be no a clear understanding that what goes on to work against oppose legislation like this requires specialists and requires people with special skills that can do those things. And so as his board, I think it's very important we commit to that as well.
I think this board is committed to stop this action, because small counties, it's gonna be sucked in. But the largest county code, you can come in and do whatever, another county can come in and do whatever you want to into your county. And they don't have to answer to the citizen of their county, but we do.
And I think it's important to note that we weren't named in this legislation, but we recognize that these smaller jurisdictions were, and we stand with them too.
Jim, do you have any idea of why we weren't named in this?
I wouldn't want to
I've got an opinion, but
I wouldn't want to speculate on that.
yeah, I have an opinion about it.
Maybe we should talk about that later.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Drew. I don't know if any commissioner was aware of this legislation as well before this legislation was brought to our attention by the county attorney. So it's not like there was a conversation or some type of cooperative means of collaboration. It was simply something that it came up on the radar and we're acting. Sorry, county manager.
Go ahead, Kenny.
I just wanted to add that in the last 24 hours, I've spoken with the county managers from Halifax, Warren, Vance, and Person County, and all are very grateful that we're adding our voice to their voices. They're all having emergency meetings as well. Not Person County yet. They were actually unaware, which kind of speaks to how quickly this came to the forefront, right? Really something with monumental implications statewide, which is an issue I also raised on our statewide managers call yesterday afternoon. But really, I wanted to say that the other counties who are mentioned directly in the proposed legislation are grateful for our friendship and for us standing with them.
Drew, did any of those counties, county managers indicate to you any advance warning they had of this, or they just found out about it the same way we did?
Exactly right. None of them had any advance warning of it.
So there's never, this bill hadn't been floating around.
My understanding is the majority of the bill was actually in the General Assembly last year, but this provision was added to the bill and appeared out of a conference committee without anyone having seen it or knew. We certainly didn't know about it. I didn't know about it. Our legislative liaison didn't know about it. We were caught completely off guard about it. I actually was in a meeting in Butner and received a text about it from someone. And that was the first I'd heard about it.
Sure sounds like somebody's trying to slip one over on us. Not just us, but specifically Vance, Warren, and Halifax.
Regionalization is critical because it also comes with cost sharing, and it also comes with the ability to use one source resource for the entire region. And so, this of grabbing yours and not concerned of others is concerning. And so we don't have but so many natural resources. We happen to sit on two. I don't want to see another resource bypass us. So thank you, county manager and county attorney, for engaging in this.
I know that this isn't the meeting for it, but when we're talking about this particular county that's trying to push forward this legislation, their partnership in other areas that we are supposed to be together is lacking as well. With the Triangle North, and they reap benefits from that and have not paid their freight with the percentage of property tax that was supposed to be allocated to each individual member that was on it. And also with the community college system, they're lacking in their payments to that entity. So it's glaring in the fact that this one county wants to be on its own, but have the benefit of being within a consortium. It's just kind of really disheartening. I mean, I see that one of their own commissioners is actually come out against this taking place. So it's kind of odd that they're having with what power structure within that organization is pushing for this, but it is what it is. So.
So you're in agreement with us, right?
But we do have a quorum and we can vote. Is that correct? Do we need a resolution? Do we need a motion to support this resolution? I'll make a motion that we support this resolution as a county board.
Second motion, Mr. Chairman.
It has been moved and proper second that we'll support the resolution supporting this, the draft resolution that has been drawn up for this board. Are there any questions? All in favor, use the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed have the same right. Ayes have it. Stand approved. Okay. Anything else you, okay,
I think that's it.
okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
What are the next steps we can take?
I think the next step is that we'll continue our outreach efforts. And then we will continue to have meetings with our local jurisdictions and coordinate and work towards trying to find a regional resolution of the issues here. We're hopeful that we'll see progress with the matter in the General Assembly and that we'll have an opportunity to negotiate some of these issues on a regional basis. And as the resolution says, I think we should all be clear that this isn't about trying to hurt Franklin County. It's about Franklin County participating in a regional process. And that's the same thing that we've told them every time we've talked to them for the last 5 years about this issue.
I think it's important that that's understood, because there has been conversation about a regional process, and we have gone to them on more than one occasion to work through this process. And Mr. Gooch, you're well aware of that. So that's, yep. So that's important to be understood. It's simply about ensuring that the appropriate preservation and regionalization occurs.